everybody. My name is Dan Bogos. I'm part of CGRate's project, a pretty new and fresh project. I'm with IT Syscom in Germany, located in Bavaria, you know, from where Oktoberfest these days is coming from. We got over 9 years of experience with architecting server-side solutions in VoIP environment. So just for you to understand how we came up developing CGRateS. We got platform implementation covering both wholesale and retail, and we responsibly understand the seriousness of system outages. So based on this environment variables, we came up with a solution which we said it's missing. We wanted to fill the gap in open source world, a solution which could cost quite some money if you take it from private environment, and we wanted to do our best to cover these problems. About the project, about CGRateS, it's a real-time enterprise billing suite. We started as a pure rating engine. We wanted to make it real-time, and we were keep adding features which we found native. And we ended up today being a complete billing suite. We are pluggable into existing billing infrastructure. So we educate ourselves to be non-intrusive. So we don't force like routing through our system, or we don't tell the administrators how they should configure their system. What we do, we exchange information with the switch and let the administrator to do his job in terms of configuring his own business logic. We work at very raw level, and we target some particular features which you will see following. Based on that, we are able to accommodate new components into our customers' network, which mostly are ISP or ITSP. For example, you want to add a new VoIP switch, or you want to add a new SMS service. It should be pretty easy because we work a lot with plugins. We are open source, written in Go. Starts being, actually it is already a pretty popular programming language. And we have the particularity that we started a long time ago with Go. We even took quite some risk when we started. When we started in 2012, Go was in weekly release stage. So it was not even stable. And you know, it was kind of risky because Google is known to stop projects in the middle of development. So we really understood the potential, and we said, okay, we take the risk, especially that it was just a billing system, nothing that important in someone's network. So our full sources are available on GitHub repository. We educate again ourselves not to have this kind of add-ons in private repository, which we try to sell later. So everything we got, it's on the table. And we have a strong and vibrant community behind. We have community channels like IRC and Google groups, where you can see real people and real companies talking and contributing to CGRate's project. We came later to Asterix. It's a new addition to our family, so we just finished like for this conference like last week. And we support other open source software like FreeSwitch, Kamailio, or OpenSIPs. We are performance oriented, so for that we needed to build in an advanced caching system, which is transactional, so you can fail over if you don't finish to load all your tariff plans or such. We are able to fail over without affecting your rating. We use this ALRU, the least resource used, like expiring records which are not used. So we use the memory in a smart way. And we also have support for TTL records. Like we load now the record in the memory, and if nobody is using it for, or if you set this, you tell us this, we expire it in 1 day or something. So all this is an automated smart caching system, which is pretty useful in such system. And everything what we do is asynchronous, and we do the processing within micro threads. These are, again, some nice tips, because we don't suffer from the threads limitation on OS level. We can fork thousands and thousands, maybe, I don't know, millions of micro threads without affecting the system and without being limited by it. All it's if you know Go, all it's very easily done and managed by Go runtime environment. We are a test-driven development project. We got, as today, approximately 1,500 tests, which are part of our build system. Some of them are run continuously by Travis on each of our commit. Some of them are local tests, which we run together with database and stuff like that. We even have automated tests for real calls. For that, we use, by the way, PJ SUA. And we have a modular architecture. That's with a purpose in mind. We are cloud ready. We run microservices with rich set of RPC APIs. So anything, even we tend to tell, even when CGRateS breeds, there is an API for that. So even processes between themselves, they talk via APIs. So it's all API driven. And it should be pretty easy to enhance CGRateS by rewriting specific components. So if one of our components doesn't match your logic, you can simply take it out and put your own one written in your own language, because everything is done via RPC. So it should be pretty easy for you to extend. In terms of features, we are pretty much feature rich. We are what the industry calls online or offline charging system. It's kind of buzzword. I simply would call it real-time charging. Multi-tenancy from day one, so you can isolate your tariff plans based on different tenants. And this done in a flexible way, because a tenant in our system, it's simply a filtering variable. So you just set a variable and you got yourself a new tenant. Rating engine with derived charging and a number rating. This is a bunch of features into one. The rating engine itself, it's pretty advanced. I will show you in the next slides. Derived charging, it's a concept we came up with, which is able to fork sessions or fork CDRs. So you can get your raw CDR for one session or raw event, and based on predefined rules by you, we are able to fork it. In terms of session, this is a pretty complex setup or mechanism, because we are able to start a session for your customer, a session for your supplier, a session for your distributor, whatever, and they all are bounded to the original session. So if any of these additional sessions ran out of credit, which, by the way, are standalone builds, so one can go per minute billing, one can go per second billing, they really run like separate calls. And if one of it is running out of credit, it will kill all the others. So if your distributor has no more money in his account, also your customer or your supplier is not billed anymore. So you kill the call completely. So this is about derived charging. And a number rating, it's something which tends to be now a necessity in Europe. People are in need of billing based on where the call is coming from. So they tend to, if the call is coming from Asia, calling to, I don't know, France, it will have a price. If the call is coming from US calling to France, it will have another price based on this A number rating. Account balances with bundles. So we manage accounts in prepaid mode, and we are able to set up bundles of more like minutes to destination, like 1,000 minutes to Europe landline, 1,000 minutes to, I don't know, China. And we are able to fall back. If you have 1,000 minutes to Germany and 1,000 minutes to Europe, we are able to fall back between your German minutes and European landline minutes. So that's how we do bundles, and you can have unlimited of such combination within an account. Session or event charging with balance reservation. So at the start of the call, we can reserve balance. We are also able to do smart refunds. So if we normally do a debit in a debit loop, and we reserve every 10 seconds or what you configure in the engine. And when when the call is hanged up, if we reserve too much, we refund. So we are able to do that as well. We are doing CDR logging with support for interim records also. So you can use CGRateS as your centralized CDR server. We are able to generate nowadays CDRs from Asterix, all asynchronous and scalable. We have support for fraud detection with automatic mitigation. I'll discuss in the next slides more. And we also support LCR and have quite some advanced LCR functionality. We do QoS LCR, which means you can select your suppliers based on their quality, on their routes. So you can tell, I want to have my first 5 suppliers for whatever route, but their ASR should not be less than 45% or something similar. So we are able to take decisions based on the quality of the routes. And we also are able to do another thing which is pretty unique, LCR over bundles. So you can have a bundle of 1,000 minutes, as I was talking to, I don't know, to Cuba, let's say, which can be used only in weekend. And our LCR engine is able to consider that. If your call is in weekend, we are able to put that into your routing. And when the 1,000 minutes are finished, we are able to take that out automatically from routing. And all in a dynamic fashion. You don't need to interfere at all. We do call statistics with pattern monitoring. So you can monitor live all sort of any kind of call statistics which you want. You can build up ASR for your customer, supplier, ASR for the last 1 hour, last 1 minute, last 1 day, last 1 year, and all this from one CDR. So one CDR can update all these queues. This is a very fast system. It's all in memory, and it doesn't query anything on disk. So you should be able to do just fine, I don't know, thousands and thousands of queries per second in this way. We have our own diameter server implementation. So you do this RFC 4006 for call control. It's more common in MVNO environment. And we are also having what we call process templates. So you can have your own standard. If you don't like how RFC 4006 was built, you can make your own implementation of diameter server. We have also a resource allocation controller. So you can decide yourself about the number of channels you want to assign to a customer or to a supplier. And you can implement their various rules you will see in the next slides. We have also built-in high availability support. We are quite particular there as well. We are not distributing locks, but we are emulating sessions on multiple places. So if any of our session managers goes down, the other will take over because it has already the sessions running. And we use some smart caching mechanisms there as well. And we are considering ourselves agile in developing new features. So any idea which you might have and is missing in CGRateS, we are happy to take it. About our development, here you can see some stats from openhub.net. They are monitoring, or you can set up your project to be monitored there. And you can see that we are mostly written in Go and with quite some long source history. We start becoming serious in that stats as well. This is arguable, but they estimate us about 31 efforts of coding, 31 years of effort. And you can see how we evolved in time, and that's our source. We are not very proud to increase our source code, but this reflects more in functionality we have added, because we tend to be conservative, adding a lot of code into our sources. And 120,000 lines of code of Go it means quite some functionality, because Go tends to be quite compressed language. About our performance, you can see here some stats. We provide our own dedicated binary, which you can run on your tariff plans to have an overview about how many calls you can run with your own tariff plan, because in the end, it depends a lot on the tariff plan, the speed of your system. So you can see internally, without RPC, so with APIs accessed within the process, we do about 82,000 requests per second in the engine. And from a completely different programming language like Python over JSON RPC, we do about 4,800 requests per second calculations. And this was for real, taken like last week when I built the slides, just to make sure that I do it on master always. Some of the important modules which we run, you can see most of them being explained there. What I would put here is the session manager, which is talking to Asterix and converting and sending queries to rating and other modules. Since we have all these modules independent, you can even take only one of it, one service, and start it and run your daemon. In this way, being separated, you are also able to scale. So you just start moving and make your own puzzle. Depending on where you have the most load, you are able to scale on multiple hosts. You can see things like, which I didn't touch, the first ones were touched. The user server, it's able to maintain user profiles. If you want to bind users to request and you don't have available the data. So for example, when someone sends an SMS, you just see an SLA, a CLI and the destination number. And based on this user server, you can query all the additional, whether it's a prepaid, postpaid, what is his tenant, and what's the category, and all other rating category and other information available from a user server. Aliasing, this is a way to alias your information, your request. So request comes in from an IP address, you can alias it within CGRateS towards an account name. We have even implemented our own pub sub service, so we didn't we prefer to use our own one, so we can apply our own way of filtering stuff. So it's all in our separate service of pub sub service. Regarding rating, Some of the information you can find there, and you can define our connect fees. We support rate units. That would be like telling the price for an amount of units. So you can tell, I want my price is defined per, I have 10 cents defined per 1 minute, or 10 cents defined per 10 seconds. But this is just from the point of definition. Rate increments, this is the real increments in billing. So your 10 cents can be split into a number of rate increments. So if you want to bill per second or bill per 10 seconds or 6 seconds, you will define a rate increment. Rates grouping, we are able to tell the interval in your call. You can split your call into small intervals and bill it differently. So this translates into you being able to bill every second in a call differently. So it's not like first minute as a whole and then the next every 10 seconds. You can do any combination you want in an unlimited way. You can define very verbose. A number rating I told you about. Various rounding methods. You can round up, middle, down. Configurable decimals in cost. You can define how many decimals to round. And you can also have maximum cost per destination with hit strategy. This is pretty useful in Europe because we have there some politics when they say when you call to a premium service or a call queue, you will not be paying more than a certain amount. When you hit that amount, you can decide whether to kill the call or leave it running for free. And we also have rating profile scheduling. So when you import your price list, you can tell, I want my price list to be valid starting of the month, so I don't need to stay in the overnight. And CGRateS will be able, if you have a call which starts before your new rates and terminates after your new rates, CGRateS is able to split that and consider two different things. We support multiple type of records, so we are able to build voice, we are able to build data, we are able to build SMS, MMS, we are able to support monetary, which are the real money. This is in case of balances. And we also support generic units. So you can build, if you have a virtual machine and you want to build the CPU cycles, you are able to do this via generic thing. Multiple category filters, you can have different price lists defined for the same destination. You have premium versus non-premium, inbound, outbound calls, whatever, and derived charging. About accounting, we support four types of accounting: prepaid, postpaid, pseudo-prepaid, and rated. The prepaid would be the one which starts the debit loop, so every few seconds will check your balance and also authorize the call. The postpaid one will be the one debiting out of your account at the end of the call, in a normal fashion. Pseudo-prepaid is what most of the billing providers are telling about the prepaid. So they authorize the call at the beginning and they debit the balance at the end of the call. But between the beginning and end, there is silence. Rated would be in case of wholesale traffic, where you don't want to keep the account, which is the most expensive part in CGRate's computing. You only want to rate CDRs, and that's done via rated mode. You can have unlimited balances per account, and same thing, voice, data, SMS, monetary, MMS, whatever. We have balance prioritization through weights and unlimited bundle combination. You can control the lifetime of a balance. You can tell it's only valid for weekend or only valid for peak time. We also support concurrent sessions per account. So if you distributed calls, or you want to have multiple calls from different CLIs merged into the same account, you can do that. We do balance refunds, as I told you, and we also are able to sleep when needed. So if you are charging per minute and you have a debit set for 10 seconds, for example, we are able to sleep and not charge until the next minute because we already charged that. This is a sample of account where you can see how we keep the data regarding accounts. And you can also see things which are related to fraud detection, where we count the account usage and where we set the account triggers. About LCR, it's a standalone LCR system. You can use it also outside of CGRate. You don't need to use full CGRate system if you want just LCR. It's tightly coupled with accounting. You can do, and that's in case of LCR over bundles. You can integrate traffic patterns. For example, if you want to compute LCR for specific duration, like you know your ACD in the afternoon, it's 4.5 minutes. You can find out and get the suppliers for 4.5 minutes, not per minute suppliers. We have also advanced profile selection mechanism. You can consider many direction, tenant, category stuff out of the request when you find out the supplier. You also have prioritization again and activation time, so you can activate your LCR rules in the future. We have different strategies. We have static, which is the classic way you find in proxies, for example, LCR. Then we have the least cost, which finds the cheaper supplier. We have for whoever wants it, the highest cost. QoS with thresholds. So you can set, as I told you, I want suppliers only with this amount of ASR. You have pure QoS LCR, where we don't care about prices. We always order the suppliers based on on their quality. We have also load distribution, where you can specify, I want some calls, like 100 calls to go to this supplier and 10 to the others. And you have a lot of strategy parameters. CDR server, it's a real-time CDR server. It has internal access. It has a lot of APIs. We have offline CDR import. This is pretty flexible because we support templates there, so you can import any type of CSV, not only the ones which we support today, or any type of XML CDR or fixed width value CDR. It's automated, so we just monitor via Linux iNotify. We monitor a folder, and we get there in this way. So we also have zero configuration CDR sources. I'll go faster because I see I run I should still have 16 minutes? Oh, 10 minutes. Okay, so I saw 5. Okay. CDR Stats, internally or remotely accessible again. It's performance oriented, as I told you. It's in memory, so you can do a lot of requests there. We have a lot of parameters. You can set the number of CDRs which you will have in the stats queue. You can set the time window, so I want the CDRs for last 1 hour there. You can set various metrics. I want to build, I think today we have around 10 different metrics, like ACD, ASR, TCD, like total call duration, and other stuff you can check in our documentation. You can have field filters, so you tell which CDRs go in which stats queue. It's synchronous or asynchronous actions can monitor the stats queue and react on it. The way we process CDRs, our processing logic. And resource limiter, it's the one doing the resource controlling. And you can see here, you can define a lot of filters also there, and it's pretty flexible. If you check it, I'm sure you will find about this. Fraud mitigation, it's part of accounting. It's tightly integrated. Balance cannot avoid it because it's blocker. So as soon as the system sees that there is fraud, there will be not possible to get any more calls. And also the active calls will be killed because they block in a queue and they don't go forward. I'll have in a dangerous demo, I'll demo a fraud automatic mitigation case. It's also part of CDR Stats, so we detect in more than one place the fraud, and also in the resource. Regarding asterisk integration, we do it via ARI. We communicate with asterisk via Go open source library called Aringo. We developed that as part of the integration, so it's standalone and maintained by our team. Calls are not authorized if CGRateS is not operational, so you are secure on that place. And we are also able to generate CDRs based on the extra fields from status. We also are able to process offline CDRs generated by CDR CSV module of asterisk. I'll be publishing also the tutorial, maybe tomorrow or the day after tomorrow. It will be already available on this link. So you can easily integrate with asterisk. Regarding our history, we wanted to monitor calls happening in asterisk in real time, have bidirectional communication with ability to disconnect calls, and generate CDRs when configured. This is an optional. We can also only process calls and build them, and CDRs you can generate in your old fashion and just send them, for example, from CSV. So you are secure that your CDRs will not be lost. We checked quite a number of options, and we ended up like the ARI should be the best and most modern solution for us. And these are some ideas how we do interaction with ARI via various APIs, and how we enforce security timer on the call, and how we prevent unauthorized call by CGRateS. And we are also passing extra information via status attribute. We also disconnect calls, so it's two-way communication. And channel disconnect will be subscribed. So even after the call, as I told you, we are non-intrusive. So your call comes via status into CGRateS. We authorize it, and we release it back into your dial plan. So your old dial plan can function as it used to do before CGRateS. We just make sure that we start parallel call processing. So we will kill the call after the credit is exhausted. And a sample distributed setup where you can have multiple asterisk servers, each with their own session manager and talking to various components of CGRateS. I've on purpose spread the components over different servers if you want to grow your real-time charging abilities. And I wanted to do a case study on distributed architecture, but it's unfortunately too late. And you can get my slides afterwards just to have some more information on this. I need to go fast because quite some content there. So yes, I'm done.
All right, how about a round of applause? All right, so we have a good 5 minutes for questions, and love to hear about it. This is a great open source. There's not a lot of open source billing for they integrate with many different platforms, let alone Asterisk. Any questions? First one?
Hold on, just to get the microphone.
I'm walking.
Thank you. So I assume actually to provision all the ratings, you have a web front end which is shipped with your application.
Well, yeah, that's the particularity. We didn't focus too much on developing the web interface because that's particular to business rules. We provide APIs for you to develop your web interface and feed the information to us, or you can feed it in via CSV files.
Okay, okay, good.
So this is how you interact with CGRate, via APIs or CSV files.
I have to walk really far for the next question.
Please.
If I understand correctly, it's possible to read CDR directly in the database, like PostgreSQL or MySQL. It's not mandatory to import a CSV file.
You mean write the rates directly into a database?
Not the rates, the CDR.
The CDR, yes.
Yes,
so we offer you the possibility to store the CDRs on our database, which is Mongo or MySQL, or we have a nice functionality, which is a rating queue. So you can feed us the CDRs, raw CDRs, and we push them in real time to you back over an API, over HTTP, for example, HTTP REST. So in this case, in times with a delay of milliseconds, you can get CDRs to you in real time already rated. So yeah, please.
Any other question? You answered one question with that answer.
Yeah, regarding CDRs. Data access. Yeah, so we support MySQL, Postgres, and Mongo today for storing the CDRs, or we can push you the CDRs in real time while we rate them. We call this rating queue.
There's a follow-up.
Yeah, he deals quite a lot with CDRs, I guess.
Every time I see this, Dan, I'm blown away and say to the guys, we must look at this rather than fanning about writing our own internally, but we've never quite got around to it. But you answered the question about DBs for CDRs. What about rates and bundles and all that? Is the only way of injecting them through the API, or are they stored in DB tables somewhere?
Yeah, so they are not, we use, for example, Redis for storing, because we needed to look for a very fast and reliable solution for accounts. And something like a traditional MySQL or Postgres was too slow for our queries. You saw we target like 5,000 requests per second. So we ended up using Redis for that, to store accounts. And to load accounts and maintain them, we do it via what we call actions. And an action is a single operation on the account. So you schedule actions on account. This can be done via APIs, or you can also manage stuff in the database via, again, our API. So you can build your own front end and call stuff on some sort of wizard in our database via APIs. And when you are done, you call some sort of commit message, which takes from an offline database and moves it to the real database, the operational database, which is the one live. So APIs offline also, but via APIs and CSV files.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So Dan will also be at a booth in the back, the Camellia booth. We'll have Dan with CGRateS for any questions that you might have and come up with. This is a question I get asked a lot, is what type of billing software, what type of assistance is there for me? And here's a great new product. Not super new, but it's a great, the addition to Asterisk is fantastic. So there's one announcement, and that's that the happy hour has been moved up to right after we get out. So if you would go right next door to where you had your keynote this morning, then there's a happy hour Love to see everyone there. And also we ask that, to get more speakers that match your interests, that you please fill out the asterisk 2016.sced.org and place how you feel that this presentation was. And we thank you very much and have a great day.
Thank you, guys.